So far, 10. Okay, 10 episodes. It looks like it's only going to be one season. Oh, okay, it's 10 on a novel. 10 episodes. It looks like it's only going to be one season. Oh, okay, it's 10 on a novel. 10 episodes.
Okay. What's going on?
It looks like it's only going to be one season.
Are we echoing?
Oh, okay, it's 10 on a novel. I think I might know the problem. Alright, so I'm gonna...
Give me a sec, because I think my mic is actually picking up.
Are we echoing?
Oh, okay, it's
we are stuck in a time loop.
I think I might know the problem. Alright, so I'm gonna...
So, give me 1 second, because I think my mic is actually picking up.
Are we...
Okay.
This has suddenly turned into that SCP. We are stuck in a time loop.
I think I might know the problem. Alright, so...
stop this nightmare.
Give me 1 second, I think my mic is actually man, I got this.
Okay. This has suddenly turned into that SCP. We are stuck in a time loop.
I think I might know the problem.
Alright, speak now.
Stop this nightmare.
Give me 1 second, I think my mic is actually man, I got this.
Hold on. This has suddenly turned into that SCP. We are stuck in a time loop.
I think I might know the problem.
Alright, speak now.
Stop this nightmare.
Give me 1 second, I think my mic is actually man, I got this.
Hold on. This has suddenly turned into that SCP. We are stuck in a time loop.
I think I might know the problem.
Alright, speak now.
Stop this nightmare.
1 second, I think my mic is actually man, I got this.
Hold on. This has suddenly turned into that SCP. We are stuck in a time loop. I think I just realized what went wrong. Why am I hearing an echo? It was on my end. Sorry, guys. That was my fault. I had the other stream in a different video. So with that, actually, hold on. Oh, yeah. So with that, with that problem solved.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, I can see. I can hear you.
And we're not echoing, right?
We're not echoing anymore. I fixed it. It was on my end, actually.
Oh, of all things. Okay.
Geez. This is what happens when I even when I try to schedule this thing at the last minute. This is like too much was happening today, but well, yeah, that little tidbit that led into the crazy crash of reality earlier. That was we were kind of just about to discuss the new series coming out, Lovecraft Country, because I just saw the trailer for that once. So I probably missed a few things, but holy crap, does this look bad? I mean, I took one look at it and I go like, this looks like a Jordan Peele movie. And it turns out
it is a Jordan.
It is.
It's a Jordan Peele HBO series that exists.
And it lacks subtlety. I mean, first line of the trailer. What book are you reading?
I looked at it. I actually decided to do a little research, but admittedly this is a quick Wikipedia thing. And this is also one of those cases of the source material not being popular enough to really have a full Wikipedia thing, like a description of the plot, stories, elements, stuff like that. Though the book has been out since 2016. Really? So, yes. And from what I understand, looking at it, from what I was able to glean from the Wikipedias, the horrifying hellhole that is Wikipedia. It's basically conflating Jim Crow America in the 1950s with Lovecraft racism. Look,
I knew they were going to do something like this just from the minute I saw that shit.
Dude, honestly, I just question why it's in the 1950s when it's not the 1930s. Like, when most of the stories were published. Because, believe it or not, 20 years actually does make a difference in a lot of these cases.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I knew this was something that was being, like, made and produced in Hollywood, made by a bunch of people who are going to be politically correct, adapting the works of somebody who is anything but politically correct. 3 guesses as to what Lovecraft named his cat. His black cat. Actually, don't guess that on stream.
Nugget? We're just gonna call it
Nugget Man.
Look, man, I think Nugget is is a cute cat who's been unfairly maligned throughout these generations. I think it's time for Nugget to finally come out into the light and be accepted for the good cat that he is.
Oh, jeez. Oh my god. And they even had like a flashback sequences to like what looked like ancient times. It could very well be Hyperborea, which would be cool if it wasn't a Jordan Peele movie. So now I have a feeling they're gonna do the We Was Kangs in Hyperborea.
Oh, come on. We don't know that. Probably yes, but we don't know that.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, the Hyperborean universe, which is essentially the Conan universe, by the way, crosses over with Cthulhu Mythos universe frequently during like that time period where the entire planet was just Pangea. It's pretty much that.
Honestly, the Hyperborean universe might not touch it because look, Conan's in a legal jumble mess right now because it's about to enter public domain, but isn't yet. It's public domain in Europe at the moment. So they might avoid it just to avoid any possible litigation issues.
But yeah, it is. But okay. But here's the issue I have with the representation aspect of the series. It's going to have the same issues that the Star Wars sequels have in that because they're representing an oppressed minority, they can't show that particular minority having any flaws whatsoever. No negative lights whatsoever. Well, and you saw how that worked with Star Wars when they tried to represent women without any negative light. Well, you had Rey, who had no flaws whatsoever, therefore nothing to grow out of, and that was just an action movie. Imagine how this is gonna look if this... Yeah, I'll finish in a sec. Imagine how this is gonna look in a Lovecraft universe where not only do the main protagonists have flaws, but they accumulate more of them as they lose their sanity and start succumbing to the eldritch horrors and madness.
Well, honestly, with all this, and yes, Shim, the creators of Conan Lovecraft were friends. They were correspondents. Sorry, just responding to the messages there. First, Mike, let's just be fair here. It's 10 episodes. Then again, Watchmen was also 10 episodes, and that was crap.
Yes, it was.
So, believe me, I know how this is. I know the feel. I know the pain. I know the Lovecraft horror. But one, it's 10 episodes, and I don't know what it's going to be like, because here's the thing. I don't know, because it's 10 episodes, they're going to have to fill it out with something, but it's a horror series. And, I don't know. The thing about horror is you really have to believe the protagonists aren't safe. I haven't read the novel, but I'll tell you what. I'm going to try and read it, and I'll tell you if it's good or not next time I see you. Okay?
So this
sure I can find...
Wait, mate, this whole thing has a novel in and of itself?
Yes, this actually is a full novel. It's based on a novel. I looked that up on Wikipedia. I actually mentioned it several times.
Written by who?
A guy called... Let me look this fucking thing up. I never heard of the guy. Matt Ruff.
Matt.
Let me look at... Hold it. I'm going to check something because I'm curious. Is he a white dude?
If he's a white dude...
Books.
Not really. What comic book did he write?
I don't know. But he's been active since the 80s.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Lovecraft didn't really... It's like... He wasn't the only person making stuff for the Cthulhu Mythos universe. He may have started it, but he wrote for the magazine called Weird Tales, and there were multiple writers for that magazine, and they all contributed to the same universe. I mean, some of the stuff... I mean, just if you have a Call of Cthulhu RPG sourcebook, just take a look at the monster section and just read some of the quotes and look at the name at the end of them.
Yeah.
Notice a few names not Lovecraft in there. August Derleth, Clark Ashton Smith, Robert Blanc.
Now, to be fair, I discovered that Matt Ruff is a white dude.
Aha!
German ancestry. So yeah, joking aside, dude's white ass.
AJ Shim, that is not a Lovecraft story. That is a Castlevania episode. Ugh.
That's fair.
A martial arts shows people who fight Lovecraftian monsters with traditional weaponry. That's right, monsters that you can't even shoot with a bullet, and you're just gonna use like ancient Chinese weaponry against it. Actually, to be fair, some ancient artifact weaponry does work on some Lovecraftian monsters in some cases. Just not in the way you think.
Well, it's one of those things of just it depends on the story. To be fair, like it really does.
Yeah, and that story is definitely not written by Lovecraft, by the way. Yeah. I mean, I've read some of those stories where some people did use ancient artifacts to fight against like eldritch abominations, and that was not a Lovecraftian story. It was. I'm trying to remember which ones they were. It's been a while. It's
I understand.
Out of Aeons or Shadow Out of Time or something like that. Shadow Out of Time would have been a good one to depict as a visual medium, because it has been a visual medium made by fans. Fans are making better Lovecraft material than Hollywood would.
Dude, look, the best Lovecraft material Hollywood has produced was stuff that's based on Lovecraft, but it isn't called Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Like, in all seriousness, Lovecraft is one of those guys who, in general, has always been like, he did influence a huge swath of horror, but it's like you would have to dig deep for him. It's not like Conan, where Conan actually had major adaptation releases over the decades. You know? And I'm not talking like, it's not like Lovecraft doesn't have films, they do exist.
Reanimator, that cult classic.
I do love me my Reanimator.
Yeah, that's the one everyone knows. And I think that was the one that Lovecraft wasn't even serious about.
No, Lovecraft did that as basically a job.
Yeah, he just had. That was one of the stories he wasn't even passionate about. It became like one of the most well-known.
He was asked to write 6 chapters, and each chapter had to end with a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So,
but the most recent movie I've seen based off of Lovecraft was Colors Out of Space, and for what it's worth, it's a decent adaptation of a Lovecraft story to a modern age.
Isn't that the one with Nick Cage?
Yeah.
Okay, so it has the meme.
Yeah, it has the meme, and it pretty much covered all the bases. It's like, I was like, oh, why wasn't the media all over this whole color thing? Well, it's because the media portrayed that guy as a complete moron just for clickbait.
Well,
it's like that's how they got around it. It's like, oh, it was just fake news.
Well, look, I'm gonna do something for you, man. Here, I'm gonna look up a review of the book.
All right, let's see how that looks.
We'll see. Right now, the thing on Wikipedia is that it has only reviews of the book. It doesn't give a plot synopsis or anything. So if we're gonna read this, I'm probably gonna have to actually seek out a copy to read it.
Yeah, AJ, I'll tell Dave about Johnny Sorrow after he reads it.
Alright, so some very nice, very smart African Americans are plunged into netherworlds of malevolent sorcery in the waning days of Jim Crow, as if Jim Crow wasn't enough of a curse to begin with. In northern U.S. of the 1950s, as depicted in this merely Maccabee pastiche by Ruff, driving while black is an even more perilous position than it is now. Ask Atticus Turner, an African-American Korean War veteran and science fiction buff, who was compelled to face an all-too-customary gauntlet of racist highway patrolmen and hostile white roadside hamlets. en route to his Southside Chicago home on Massachusetts village in search for Kermundi father Montrose, who is lured away by a young white sharp dresser driving. Okay, I'm getting stuff. I'm figuring this out. The Safe Negro Travel Guide. Okay, that's a thing. All right. This is kind of one of those things. I'm trying.
Safe
What?
Negro Travel Guide.
Jesus Christ, sir.
We just had to say that out. I just had to say that out loud just to confirm what I just heard.
Yeah, it's weird. Apparently, okay, from what it looks like, this novel might be a whole thing of where we imagine the racists as H.P. Lovecraft monsters, which is an interesting angle, honestly. I'm not gonna lie, that actually... Look, for what it's worth, that's an angle to cover material in. I'm not a fan of it because, to me... Let me put it this way. I don't see... I know people want to deconstruct Lovecraft. They really do. But the man was an unwell shut-in with a lot of probable mental issues that weren't really diagnosed back then. And honestly, there's a guy doing a Lovecraft biography right now on Twitter. I follow him. I'm not going to mention by name because controversy. And he actually talked about this because he was trying to find up information about his biography, but his teenage years are a complete mystery because he was mostly a shut-in. We don't know what happened during those years, and a lot of it's anecdotal. So he has to figure it out because there's just a lot of not evidence there. All he knows is that his mother was involved. So this is kind of one of those things of just like, I really feel like to tackle Lovecraft, you might have to tackle the mental issues, especially because with Arkham being such a current theme because of Batman and stuff like that, mental illness might be the best way to handle a modern Lovecraft story, especially insanity and all that stuff. It very much plays more to that than the prejudices of, well, anything really. Because look, Lovecraft was about being scared of stuff, and there's always been plenty of stories where it's like racist as monsters. And to tell you the truth, like, this story was done with Get Out, you know?
Yeah.
It's like if you want to do the story, Get Out is probably the best one to do it, because for one thing, at the very least, it's original. It's using its own logic. It's using its own story. It's not reliant on H.P. Lovecraft and what he thought, you know?
I mean,
I'm just saying.
I mean, if you want to tackle racism with Lovecraft, you could have just as easily done Shadow over Innsmouth with the Innsmouthians being so prejudiced against outsiders.
Yep. But I'm just speaking of myself in terms of just like, look, I think there's a way to do this, and I think there's a probably, and to me it seems like at the very least a good idea. I'm one of those guys who's like, okay, I like that proposal, but I want to see the full details. Don't be typical.
Oh, by the way, Dave, have you ever heard of Johnny Sorrow?
Johnny Sorrow from DC Comics? Yeah, I actually have his first story arc.
Yeah.
So Johnny Sorrow is an interesting character. He was first appeared in this comic called Justice Society. Justice Society is basically 1940s heroes fighting for justice. Cool, right? And his whole gimmick was that he got lost in a weird dimension and it mutated him, where he's now this suit with a floating mask that anytime he takes off the mask, he drives people insane.
That's like
a very really cool character and just a fantastic fucking design. If you look him up,
it's my first D&D character, actually.
Yeah, he does kind of sound like my first horrifying D&D character to an extent. Yeah, true. But no, I like Johnny Sardo a lot. He's a cool villain. I like him. He's cool. I totally support him and his thing. Well, if
That's
we're
the whole
talking actually,
basilisk thing with the whole like taking off the mask and it pretty much harms you.
yeah. If you want to talk about good comic horror and stuff like that, or at least Lovecraft horror, I have to actually finish reading Alan Moore's. He did a Lovecraft comic. I totally forgot the name of. Give me a sec. I'm gonna look this up.
I think I've heard of this one though.
He did a couple. He did one story called The Courtyard. Neonomicon, which is almost porn. I'm going to just be honest there. Providence, that's what it's called. Providence.
Oh yes, Providence. I think I might have that somewhere.
Yeah, I never got it because I was hoping a complete 12-issue collection would be out where I could just sit and just read the whole thing. And it's Alan Moore trying to basically write about Lovecraft in the most full way possible. The way he does it is that he does it through the eyes of a closeted gay man during during Lovecraft's time. So I'm kind of curious about it, but I never read the full story. Just, I know the premise of it. And Alan Moore loves Lovecraft, so he's not exactly the most disrespectful guy. He's not like Warren Ellis, who had him in one comic, where he shows up and he's like, "Hello, Jon Snow. These are nugget eggs." Nugget eggs.
The fuck is a nugget egg? You don't know? Oh right, I know what a nugget egg is because we've been calling it that.
See. What's a nugget? See, I'm bringing the joke back, Mike. I'm bringing the joke back.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but the big overarching theme of Lovecraft's work is just the sense of dread, the feeling that like the entire human race is utterly doomed. I mean, that's generally the feeling that you're supposed to get as you read through most of his stories, as you go through revelation after revelation and go down an entire rabbit hole and just realize how powerless humanity is.
Well, honestly, they did one thing in Lovecraft Country that actually does tick me off a little bit. I hate when they name black characters black. Just as kind of like, if it's past the 1950s or 60s or 70s, I'm like, come on. We can be better.
Jeez. It's also
like,
very not only is it like cringy, it's also obscenely uncreative. It's like,
well, it's like this.
Hi, y'all. I'm Blackie Blackerson of the Black
in the
Attacks
novel,
group.
the main character is actually called Atticus Turner, which is a little on the nose, but fine. Atticus Turner.
Oh yeah, Atticus Turner sounds like a Lovecraftian protagonist, at least.
But in the show, he's called Atticus Black.
Okay, they ruined it.
So to me, it's like, what the fuck would you name would you get rid of a perfectly good name like that? Fuck you and fuck your clown shoes religion. But yeah, no, honestly, that's always been a kind of a thing with me. I remember, there was one alternate universe Spider-Gwen comic where they had the Black Cat be African-American. I'm just like, why? Why would you do this? Don't, why? You could have made someone else African-American. No one cares what Sandman is. Or White Rabbit. Actually, White Rabbit would be funnier.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of relieved that it's just a book adaptation, because then I could say, yeah, this isn't really part of the Weird Tales canon.
It's just an adaptation of another book that, this is not an adaptation of Lovecraft. To be fair, Lovecraft is also technically in the public domain. If you wanted to, Mike, you can make your own Lovecraft movie right now.
I probably should. In fact, what I think TV should do is just make an anthology of Weird Tales and just use all the writers from it. They all had some pretty good stories that contributed to that universe.
Well, honestly, people often just look at the H.P. Lovecraft stuff, but there's some good stuff, and honestly, I do like my pulpy like horror stuff.
Oh yeah, it's. I mean, the genre before it was called Lovecraftian was called pulp horror. It was like pulp sci-fi horror.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I would prefer like a fully true adaptation of Robert E. Howard Conan stories to the TV. We got some really good comic book adaptations, and that do really well in my opinion. I like them a lot, but
well, we have better video game adaptations of Conan, and I'm waiting for better video game adaptations of like the Weird Tales universe. I don't want to call it the Call of Cthulhu universe anymore because that just implies that you have to have Cthulhu involved, which means you're gonna have to be in the same goddamn port town with the same gross, damp mosses and same tentacle monsters and fish people. It's like
now. Like we can always expand out from Cthulhu. I want to introduce my new concept, Cthulhu the Barbarian. It's about Cthulhu, who's now a barbarian, as he tries to regain his godhood, only to be thwarted by Conan Cthulhu.
I mean,
it.
Something.
It is.
It's like, give me something else. We've done the Cthulhu thing to death already. Give me something else in that universe. Give me the deserts in Egypt with Nyarlathotep, the tundra with Athagwa.
I just want the Mountain of Madness adaptation from Guillermo del Toro to happen, and then I'll be happy.
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, at least I'm not in a port town. I'm just in the icy ruins somewhere. And then or you could have like a whole like theater thing going on with the King in Yellow and Lost Carcosa. So, wouldn't it be badass if someone actually did a live action theater play around about the city of Lost Carcosa?
That would be cool, but I doubt it.
And then you have to wonder, is like, was that really a play or was that some kind of mystical ritual?
Honestly, I would love to see but honestly, I would love a King in Yellow adaptation. That's a very fascinating story.
It is.
That's the one I would actually kill for. But I understand where you're coming from on this one. I just am always one of those guys who's like, let me do the research and figure what this is about. I'll be back. And then I douse myself in a chamber for an hour and I'm like, I am back with the information you seek, chosen one. Here's the apple of knowledge. You'll be burdened with it forever. And here's the orange of precious dreams. You'll eat it and you'll have nice dreams, but you'll be a wimp. Do you want to be a wimp?
AJ, isn't it a bad idea to speak the name of the unspeakable?
Yes.
Just saying there.
Don't. No. And now we're dead. Thanks, Shim. You killed us.
It's kind of like saying Candlejack.
Oh, great. I lost my co-host now. I guess I gotta do this alone. So I'm gonna talk about Transformers. So I recently got this figure named Double Dealer, and he's a triple changer. He not only turns into a robot, but he also turns into a rocket launcher and a bird. It's like the American dream come true. He's like the most American Transformer. Even though he's purple, blue, green, he's a lot of different evil colors. Since he's also Double Dealer, he's also Autobot and Decepticon. So he's this really cool figure. I like him a lot. Anyway, that's my Transformers podcast. Oh wait,
is there anything that a Transformer doesn't transform into?
Well, you let me tell you about Dildotron.
Don't.
Actually, speaking of which, Mike, I'm gonna have to ask you. You're gonna have to let me indulge, all right?
Yeah.
You wanna know what dropped on Netflix?
What?
A new Transformers cartoon. 6 episodes.
Good for
You're-
you. You get a new Transformers cartoon. Meanwhile, I got Lovecraft Country.
I know I'm going to be honest, dude. Look, this is a lot. Look, this is a Transformers cartoon produced by Rooster Teeth. So I know.
Makes sense. I mean, me and my brother came to this weird conclusion that Red versus Beast Wars was essentially proto Red versus Blue. Just two teams fighting each other in a box canyon.
You said this, and now I just know. I'm like, oh God, you're fucking goddamn right, and I hate you for this.
I'm never going to stop thinking about this now.
Yeah.
It makes way too much sense.
It's Red.
Beast Wars is one of my favorite cartoons, and Red versus Blue was good until a certain point I stopped watching.
Red vs. Blue. I use this as an analogy. It's like it's like a bunch of friends playing a Dungeons and Dragons game. At first, it gets all funny and quirky and wacky because the players are just starting out. They have no clue what they're doing, and they're just having fun with it. But as they get better, as the campaign goes longer and longer, and they get better and better, they get more and more serious, and the dungeon master starts doing long-winded story campaigns. That's what happened to that series.
You're not wrong. One of the big problems with that show is that whole thing, God, like the whole thing with Tex and everything. I remember when Tex got her first miniseries, and I was just like, so fucking don't care about it.
Yeah, I think the creators were more obsessed with Tex than any of the fans were.
Yeah, that's true. It's not a fun thing, but
Yeah,
anyway,
that's the thing. It's like nobody watched that series to watch Tex be a badass. Everyone watched the series to watch the Reds and Blues be like bumbling idiots.
well, anyway, I know we're on Red versus Blue, but I want to talk about the 6 issue.
Oh yeah, the 10 issues.
It's 6 issues. It's 6 episodes, so it's not going to be long. So the idea of this story is that it takes place. All right, this is a cartoon that I always thought was going to happen, but it's now it's here, and it's this. We are now at the time of it's G1, but dark and edgy. So if you don't know what G1 is, G1 means like the original cartoon. So all the Transformers are based on original cartoon characters, and they're in a dark, edgy, serious cartoon.
And this is one of those things I always knew was going to probably happen eventually as a cartoon. Either way, with reboots and redone things, and you always get classic characters with their classic costumes sometimes in dark shows. So this was inevitable. Like, to give you an idea, like, take Bumblebee. Bumblebee, the sweet, lovable sidekick boy of the Transformers? Well, he's not on any side of the war. He's conflicted. He doesn't want to join any side. He's
So he's a fence sitter.
Yeah, basically, he's a milquetoast fence sitter who scavenges Energon and doesn't want to be involved with this war. And Megatron is like he has been corrupted by his rebellion and power. And Optimus Prime is trying to fight for peace, but he can't. And it's all so dangerous. The show is it's okay. It's just okay. I would check it out if you want to see Transformers done in a different way than you're used to. But it's just an okay show. It's not one of my favorites, but I enjoyed it. The big problem with it is that I wish the voices were more distinct from each other. Because the problem with the voice acting in the show is that everyone basically just is trying to sound like the same tough person. It's like, oh, I'm Optimus Prime, take me seriously. I'm Megatron. I'm cool, but take me seriously. I'm RC, I'm the Leto 1, and I'm Chromia. We're all girls, and you can't tell us apart. Except we're girls. That's cool, right? Actually, there's no female Decepticons. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed, Hasbro. Where are my evil robot girls?
Well, they can't put them in hot, skimpy outfits because they're robots, so they can't be female villains.
You can't tell me what to do. They're making a model kit. I can do whatever the hell I want with that model kit.
Yeah.
Joking aside, I'm a really huge fan of Transformers. I collect them. I recently got some major figures. Like I said, I did get Double Dealer. And I'm a huge fucking fan of the franchise. It's like my jam. But I'm going to be honest, I'm very sad that this show is like this. It's not as distinct. It's fun, it can be enjoyable. And if you're a Transformers fan who's not, or if you're a cartoon fan who's not used to Transformers being the series, people might get something out of it. You might not, but I can't imagine other people might. So, like I said, it's enjoyable. I give it a 7 out of 10. I would listen to Megatron fight War again. I'm into the Ultra Magnus Brothers shit. Yep. 7 out of 10. It's okay. It's just okay. Check it out. But yeah, no, okay. The models in the show are also shockingly toy accurate too.
Oh, yeah, what is this show called again?
It's called Transformers Siege. It's on Netflix. So if you want to check it out, like you can. It's 6 episodes.
Yeah.
So like I said, I recommend aspects about it, but I'm not like the hugest fan of it. It's just it exists,
Yeah, it's a thing.
I want season 2 to be better, and my god, they just need better voice work, because if they made everyone a little more different from each other, I would be able to be like, oh yeah, I fucking care about Sideswipe. I want to care about my little Sideswipe boy. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's
Sideswipe.
Make some good stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, just make them all distinct. Are they just using the same voice actor, or are they just given the same coaching?
Same coaching. Basically, everyone sounds like tough guys, and they're all different voice actors. I looked it up. Bumblebee's a YouTuber, like his voice actor.
What?
Yeah, he's a YouTuber who I never watched, just fully off my radar.
Oh, it's good that YouTubers are getting work in established shows now.
To be fair, it's also a Rooster Teeth production. He could be friends with them.
Yeah, it could be.
I don't know. The guy could have been sucking a couple dicks. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know the guy. I'm just making assumptions here about his things.
Hey, maybe the casting couch goes both ways. Who knows?
Look, honestly, I don't know the dude. I'm not going to judge him because, look, I'm just saying that guy's a YouTuber. I could also imagine that maybe Hasbro was pushed him onto the project because Hasbro does cater to audiences. We'll have to see.
So all the protagonists pretty much sound like first-person shooter characters.
That's actually the best way to put it.
Yeah, it's like someone took the cast of a first-person shooter game and made a show out of it. Yeah, I'm just now imagining Gears of War as a Netflix series.
Why must you horrify me? I don't know if there's anyone who can look like those gorilla men. Unless you start cloning Arnold.
Yeah, it's oh jeez. The look and style of that game.
Mm-hmm.
Although I did like the fact that they have a dodge mechanic in that game.
Dodge, but
Like, yeah, everybody's like a huge, but like everyone's huge gorilla men. I don't know how that's gonna have to look. So,
Well, everyone except for the women.
yes.
The women actually still look like women. Actually, have you seen what the Gears of War series looks like now?
Dude, I could care less about the Gears of War series, like, in general. It's not the fact that, like, I hate it. It's just the fact that I just don't care.
Yeah, it was just
honestly,
one of those things that you never got into.
I
But,
played it. I thought it was fun, just not my thing.
but yeah, one of the things that I always found so distinct about the Gears of War series was their game trailers. And I knew something was off when I saw the trailer for like that their latest game that came out, and it was different. Most of the trailers up until then was just okay. You got that one lone gear soldiers like running around to like very sad, sappy music in what looks like an unwinnable situation. It looks like he's about to be killed. So it has that sort of tune in next time to see if he survives this moment. Then all of a sudden, it comes with the latest trailer. You just have this like face of a young girl in a blank background wearing like the Gears armor, going through what some kind of emotional facial expression changes. I'm like, what is this? There's nothing happening here. And then she literally turns into a goth chick. It's like she just suddenly gets black makeup or something. It's like, what the hell?
That's hilarious. Well,
yeah, that's what happened to the Gears series. It kind of went emo, I think. Well, more so than usual.
Well, honestly, I can kind of see that. Like, to be fair, like the Gears of War always took itself so seriously to the point where I kind of considered it a bit parody at points.
Yeah.
No offense.
None taken. I mean, it's not my favorite series. I stopped after 2.
Well, I always just found it kind of funny, and I was always more into anime characters and giant robots and stuff like that. And well, okay, my serious gaming stuff, I was more into the Mech Warrior franchise.
Yeah,
that's like was my jam. I actually have the Mech Warrior. I actually have the BattleTech strategy game on my PC right now. So that was always my jam. But well, here's something I've been doing actually because I was curious, and I decided to research She-Ra, the She-Ra production.
Oh yeah,
because
I've been hearing some new stuff going on about that. So what's going on?
Well, the fandom's awful, and I want them to get kicked in the nads. Okay.
Okay, I'll add that fandom to the list then.
Okay, here's the problem with that fandom. It's concrete information. You want to know what? It makes me miss the Marvel fandom for one reason. The Marvel fandom dedicates themselves to, like, documenting first appearances, numbers, dates, stuff like that. Like, I'm able to find out, like, so if I find the right fan, I can find out, like, an exact publication or in continuity timeline of Marvel characters. It's very possible to read that. It's not easy, but it's possible. Okay? With She-Ra fandom, I literally couldn't find anybody. I couldn't find out if somebody was gay, bi, transsexual. It was a mess. It was a nightmare. It was like going down a dark corner of horror, and I had to get confirmation on things. I had to go through Tumblr, and you know how shit Tumblr is at archiving things?
Oh my!
Do you know how many Twitter memes, random cat photos, and stupid screen caps I had to go through to find this information? It took me an hour, Mike. An hour of my time I won't see back.
It usually takes me about 10 minutes. I'm looking up like Spider-Man, but no. To find out one simple fact, it took me a goddamn hour of my time. And now I look into the abyss and I know what it truly is, and all I can think is She-Ra fandom, get your shit together. Okay, besides that.
my inner darkness out there is just okay. So I ended up having to track down one of the creators' blogs to figure out if a character was transsexual or not, because on the wiki for She-Ra, it lists that one character was intended to be transsexual. Intended. And no, but the creator never told the creators that she was meant to be transsexual. So it never came up in the show. And then some people were like, it's canon. And I was like, is it canon? And then I actually had to track down the actual blog of where they got this from. And it's not canon. She's not transsexual. But because of it, some people now headcanon her as transsexual. And now I just don't know anymore. I don't know what sexuality is, Mike. I don't know. What you could be attracted to anything. I think nowadays, actually there's only two sexualities. Down to fuck and not down to fuck. That is the true sexuality. You get two people, are they down to fuck? No, then they're just not down to fuck.
Jeez.
I had determined this, and this is my scientific evidence here, right now, with notes. Notes of a bygone era.
Maybe there's a reason Lovecraft was awkward around the topics of sex in his stories.
Well, considering that apparently, like, his wife had to get him to have sex.
Yeah.
The guy might have just been an asexual back in the day.
Yeah, that's a lot of pent-up frustration there.
Well, that would explain his stories to an extent.
Yeah. Just look up how Wilbur Whitley was made.
But yeah, no, that's the dark that's the dark story of me discovering the She-Ra fandom. And believe me, and that was only one thing. I had to figure out a lot of stuff. What the initial point was that I was trying to look up character designs to analyze them, because I was like, okay, let's figure out why. And a lot of people complain about the initial She-Ra design because it was not sexy, and you want to know why it's bad? I actually figured out the reason why.
Why?
It's actually supposed to look awkward. The creators intended to make an awkward design.
Well, that's just great.
You want to know why they made it that awkward?
Go ahead, explain it.
Okay. It's actually character development reasons. So the idea was that She-Ra was not confident in herself for whatever the fuck reason. And so she was like, oh, so it looks like this awkward fusion of what she thinks she is versus being given this power, She-Ra. So she just looks like an awkward person. That's literally the reason. They actually genuinely made it look awkward as fuck. So it's not honestly, it's just an unappealing design in general. I think it's actually kind of bad. Even as like this is supposed to look awkward. It's one of those things that's like you're selling a superhero show and you want to sell this fantasy of this character who becomes this awesome hero. That's not how you do it. Like, I get what you're trying to go for, but come on.
Can't we just have superheroes fighting supervillains like normal?
We can't have that in today's society. We have to have makeout sessions. Make out first, and then we can fight villains. Or make shipping.
Honestly, the She-Ra show is just such a bad production that it kills me as a fan of like cartoons.
Yeah, I mean, we're back in the good old days when cartoons were good.
Back in the 90s.
And when I was watching Ronin Warriors.
Ronin Warriors.
That was
Powers in the armor.
That was some good shit back in the day.
Dude, I love Ronin Warriors. Like, I own like a bunch of the figures.
Yeah. It was like someone decided to make Sailor Moon, but for guys.
Actually, Sailor Moon can best. So Ronin Warriors actually came out in 1988. Sailor Moon came out in 92.
So it
in Japan.
So it came out before Sailor Moon.
Yeah, it's just that it was brought over after Sailor Moon. So in America, so that's why there's confusion over it. I know it's not the best explanation.
But yeah, that was the show that kind of got me into the whole samurai armor and samurai culture thing.
It's a fun show. Anyway, in all seriousness, I love the Ronin Warriors. It's a good time. So, I love my shit.
We have our classic Transformers and our classic G.I. Joes.
Well, I have a lot of classic G.I. Joe. Well, honestly, G.I. Joe's probably coming back. Hasbro just released new action figures for it, and believe it or not, there hasn't been a G.I. Joe toy line in 4 years or so. Which is kind of shocking thinking about it. But yeah, no, we've been without a G.I. Joe toy G.I. Joe series for a long ass time. I don't think there's been I think the last time a G.I. Joe figure came out before this current wave was as a subscription thing. So yeah, no, G.I. Joe's coming back apparently. So yay. You know? I love me my Joe. Yo Joe.
Yeah, you're right, AJ. It was kind of like it was kind of the marketing that brought on that perception.
Mm-hmm. But it was good shit, honestly. I liked a lot of 90s cartoons, you know? Though the G.I. Joe cartoon of the 90s is special. If you ever saw it. It was called G.I. Joe Extreme. Oh, my favorite G.I. Joe character? I'm gonna go Storm Shadow. He's my personal favorite.
I'd probably go with Snake Eyes because I always like the ninjas.
Yeah, no, I was reading comics and I really got into Storm Shadow. I didn't think I would, but now I'm like, yeah, Storm Shadow. Fuck yeah, Storm Shadow. But no, Storm Shadow is my personal favorite so far. I really like.
There are 5 people watching, AJ. You're just the only one talking in the chat.
Yeah, I know. We accepted. Thank you for talking.
Yeah, it's just that 4 people are shy.
Oh, I'm actually one of them because I'm using the screen to actually watch the thing. So
Actually, same here. So that's probably.
We got 3 people.
3 people are shy, actually.
But no. But yeah, no, with but no, but no, I'm a huge fan of the G.I. Joe franchise. I'm glad it's coming back, but we'll see what happens with that. Hasbro's trying to make a new Snake Eyes movie. Which, you know, Ray Park wasn't going to be playing Snake Eyes, but I doubt he's going to be playing him ever again.
Yeah.
Because reasons.
Oh yeah, recently there's been controversy over Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, that whole thing? Okay. I don't call that real controversy. I call that manufactured controversy.
Yeah.
The controversy is that Japanese people like it and they're not offended.
That's basically it.
Like, I'm like, why does what? Why?
Or like, why are people go? Why aren't people asking the American Japanese how they feel about it, or American Asian people how they feel about it first? Why are they going over our heads as if just because you're also American, you have the authority as to what the entire nation of Japan might think?
In all seriousness, like the creator of Yakuza, who made and Yakuza is like the most Japanese of Japanese games. Like, basically said they made a game that is more Japanese than Japanese.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, my God, they like, in all seriousness, they did a good job. It's apparently a lot of people like it, and the controversy is that there's no controversy with this game. People love it, and fuck people. Look, I always hate when people try to be like, "What about this thing? Oh, how look, it's controversial, guys. Controversial. I wonder."
Some of these guys might be like provocateurs trying to I mean, it's like you said, they're trying to manufacture controversy when there really is none. It's like, dude, everyone likes this game.
Not everybody likes this game. I don't. Why wasn't I asked? Oh, poor me.
Actually, wouldn't it be hilarious if it turned out it's like the controversy for Ghost of Tsushima was about the same style of controversy for Kingdom Come Deliverance? It's like, why don't they have black people in here? Because historically speaking, in their history, they had one black samurai.
Yeah, no, but like, as far as we know, yeah. He got a pretty good manga actually about him. I like that manga a lot.
In fact, the other thing I've been hearing is that China seems to hate Ghost of Tsushima, and they are siding with the Mongols, or they taking a stand with the Mongols. Apparently, it's like, really?
Yeah, dude, it's a game based on Japan. Yes, of course they hate it.
Well, yeah.
Like, that is like the least surprising thing I've ever heard.
But to stand with the Mongols, it's like you're standing with the guys who kind of massacred your people back in the day.
Well, they're communists. They side with whoever gets them what they want.
It's like the villain in that game isn't exactly a nice person either.
Well, I know what you're saying, but my point being is that, like that whole, like, dude, of course, like China does that type of thing. It's makes sense. They hate it, and we all know the history of them. Like, they're going to basically side against, like, I'm not shocked that this is a thing. It's like, look, it would be shocking to find out that they actually liked it. Right?
Yeah, it would be even more shocking if they did like it.
Yeah. That happens.
I just found it kind of weird that they wanted to side with the Mongols. It's like, all right, so you hate the Japanese that much.
Look,
Which,
man,
after World War II, I can't blame you, so.
They are more recent.
Yeah, that was the thing.
But yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely not a game that will ever get a release in Japan. Probably won't get released in Korea either.
That's true, but it is what it is.
But hey, it was the kind of game that I've been wanting to happen for a while now. It's like a good Kurosawa-esque type samurai game.
Yeah, that's fair. And this was a game that I always want to happen, and I always want to try and play.
Yeah.
So I'll get a shot when I have the chance and money.
Unfortunately, it's on the PlayStations, or was it the PlayStation 4 now, or is it?
Yeah, I have the PlayStation 4, so I'll be able to play it.
All right, so you can have it. It's like one good game is not enough for me to get another PlayStation. Least of all, one that's very censorious.
Well, to be fair, Mike, I got the PS4 because it had like about 10 games I wanted to play, so. But that's just me, Mike. I love me my anime waifu games. And
Yeah, it's
Devil
not
May
the
Cry.
games you want. It's just not the games that I've been looking for.
I know. Look, Final Fantasy VII. I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist.
It's
Joking
Final
aside,
Fantasy
I
VII.
know it's on other platforms, but still, it's not right unless I have like a triangle button, man.
Actually, have you ever noticed that Korea has been overly big on MMO games?
That is very much a thing.
I think
Yes.
that's why they're big on PC games, because every time I see a game that comes out of North Korea, it's an MMO game.
Yeah, that's because it's like their genre. In fact, that's the reason why City of Heroes was killed off.
Yeah.
You wanna know what happened? Because basically nobody in Korea at the time, nobody was interested in the superhero theming, and they were like, a Korean company bought it, and it was like popular in the West, and they're like, why isn't it popular over here? And it's like, well, because it's very much an American game about superheroes. So that was very much a thing. But I gotta get going because I actually haven't had much to eat tonight, and I need some food.
All right. I mean, well,
We've been doing this for an hour. I think it's a good time to hang up for tonight. We got a lot done. We got a lot of stuff talking.
yeah, it's like we started off strong talking about the whole Lovecraft thing and Lovecraft Country, and what a train wreck that one's about to be.
Well, you saw me go into gibbering madness about She-Ra.
Yeah, it's like holy crap! Everything, the Doom. Looks like I aptly named this stream. The Doom Counter Rises.
It's true, but we'll forget, and then you'll see us again next time.
And then
You
it'll
guys have a
end
good-
just like any other Lovecraftian story, where it's like we wake up one morning wondering if we're really insane or if the world truly is fucked.
It's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. We're insane and fucked.
So this is Scarfy and Dave's signing off. Good
You
night,
guys have a good
folks.
one. Night.
And that ends that stream.